paying more money. That's additional money for light the building, keep gas going, have someone there work. And guess what, Amy? For the most part, 90% of those schools in the evening will be closed. They're not there during the daytime. Lastly, he talked about police retiring.
Rod, we got to go, Ron. But I appreciate
that's not going to work though either.
Appreciate your comments, Ron. Thanks for the call. All right, we got to switch gears here now and welcome our friend Steve Moore, who is an economist and the author of Govzilla, among other works. Steve, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, good morning, guys. I'm excited to hear you're going to get rid of the worst mayor in America. That's good news.
Well, it's a work in progress.
Yeah.
Early voting has begun.
Yeah.
And I got to find a way to get an absentee ballot to the Teak House at Georgia Tech, stat, for my family to vote for Paul Bell.
Well, I would vote for my coffee table over over your current governor. So,
the other good news this week, Mr. 10%, the big guy, President Biden, announced that the emergency declarations to deal with COVID are coming to an end, and he tried to explain why when he was queried about it by the press.
What's behind the decision to end the COVID emergency, Mr. President? What's behind your decision to end the COVID emergency?
COVID emergency will end when the Supreme Court ends it. We've extended to May the 15th to make sure we get everything done. That's all. There's nothing behind the
May, first of all, it's May 11th, not May 15th. That's just how arbitrary everything is.
It's going to end when the Supreme Court says it ends, May 15th, because we're going to get everything done. Okay.
So,
I don't.
Look,
all right.
The reason this matters is that a couple things. Number one, remember the student loan bailout, where that started, obviously under Biden. Do you know how he asserted the authority to do that?
The student loan program?
Yeah, I mean, the forgiveness of the student loans. You know, that should go through Congress. You know how he did it?
He said, "I got to get this stuff done, and the Supreme Court will tell me when it's time to end." Something like that.
Yeah, but he asserted the authority through the COVID emergency, which is laughable. What does student loan forgiveness have to do with COVID?
Yeah, so, precedent setting.
The point I'm making is that these are when you give a president emergency powers, you know, in a time of war or after a terrorist attack or during a virus, they become essentially like a king. You know, they can do whatever they want to do. We should have ended this COVID emergency back in early 2021, for goodness sake. I mean, COVID's been over for at least a year and a half. So it's almost laughable that they still, and the fact that he wants to wait until the middle of May to end this, it should have ended last May. So this is ridiculous. And the other reason this matters is that there are all these government programs, you know, all of these welfare programs that basically gave extended and expanded benefits that continue now through the middle of May. They should have, again, this is costing us tens of billions of dollars to keep this, quote, COVID emergency going. So I find it to be outrageous. I want to mention another thing that's related to this, because there's going to be a vote on this maybe today or tomorrow. Did you guys know it has been almost 3 years since federal employees have been required to show up in the office?
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yeah, 47% still aren't back at work.
I hadn't noticed. Had anybody else? Noticed? I had noticed.
Well, it's in all aspects of
By the way, nobody notices that they haven't been at work, which makes you wonder whether we need these programs at all. But so that's point number one. Point number two, folks, these people have been collecting a full-time paycheck for 3 years, and a lot of these people haven't shown up for work. We have people in our neighborhood who are federal employees. They work maybe 3 or 4 hours a day. And then collecting a full-time paycheck thanks to rich Uncle Sam. And then we wonder, gee, why are we running a $1.4 trillion deficit? And we're spending money like it's candy.
Well, the other thing is we've got to move on from COVID because we have another burgeoning health crisis that needs an executive action. And, of course, talking about abortion. HHS and President Biden being urged by lawmakers as well as pro-abortion advocates, of course, to issue an emergency declaration because of the full-scale reproductive health crisis, quote unquote, that the Dobbs decision has unleashed. And this would allow the administration to help support states that protect abortion, deploy public health service corps teams, give the government the ability to accelerate access to new medications authorized for abortion. So we need to deal with this other health emergency, aborting kids.
So, by the way, this is the first I've really actually heard of that that's a pretty scary idea, whether you're pro-life or pro-choice, no matter what side you're on this. Again, what you're basically doing is subverting the courts and subverting Congress. I mean, if Democrats want to pass a law, they have the ability to do that. So, since when do we have a president who's a dictator?
Huh.
Mm-hmm. On the and on this back and forth between President Biden and Kevin McCarthy about the debt ceiling. So it's interesting. We hit the debt ceiling, and Western civilization's about to end. But
I know that too. The world didn't come to an end.
but the Treasury is going to borrow $250 billion more this quarter than they had originally projected they were going to borrow. So I guess it's no big deal.
Yeah, what's amazing too, related to this, is this new math that they use. So many of your listeners probably heard Joe Biden say that he is the deficit reduction king. He's the most fiscally responsible president we've had, since Abraham Lincoln, because he has reduced the budget deficit. Have you guys, Amy, have you heard him say this, that he's reduced the budget deficit by $1.4 trillion?
Yes.
Have you heard him say
that?
Yeah. So I wanted
that
to
all
make
the time.
sure. I want to make sure your listeners understand what a bogus claim that is. So what happened was Biden came in, and remember, it was all of these multi-trillion-dollar spending bills he passed in 2021 when he came into office. And so we ballooned the deficit to an all-time high $2.8 trillion in 1 year, $2.8 trillion in 2021. And so last year, 2022, you ready for this? You sitting down? We cut the deficit all the way down to $1.4 trillion. Yay! What a superhero! Right. So he's claiming he's cut the deficit by $1.4 trillion. I mean,
yeah, he's a fiscal conservative.
Right.
That's right. That's fiscal conservatism in action, right there, DC style. I love it. That's great.
Stuff up.
And if you have other spending cuts you'd like to make, like those great cuts you were just talking about, those are considered cuts in DC parlance. Then, as he said to Kevin McCarthy, if you show me your budget, I'll show you mine, which I think he also uses to pick up the ladies. But anyway.
Well, here's the thing. I'm going to give. I just met with some of the Republican House leaders yesterday. We just chatted about, because Biden can show me your list. Okay, you ready? Here's the list. You can write this down. Okay, we can save $75 billion by not hiring 87,000 new IRS agents. Okay, there's scratch off $75 billion. Then we can save $325 billion by ending the green energy slush fund. Okay, so now we're up to $400 billion in savings.
Okay.
Then we can save another $120 billion for finding, detecting the criminals who stole money from the unemployment insurance PPP program, the Medicaid program, the food stamp program. We get that money back. Now we've saved $500 billion. Is that so hard? And by the way, I didn't even touch Social Security. I didn't even touch Medicare.
And we could save another $100 billion if we cut Tony Fauci's pension.
Oh yeah,
right. So that's $600 billion.
So we're getting up there. This is a layup, guys. It ain't tough.
Right, easy stuff. Steve Moore, economist and Govzilla author. Steve, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Okay, guys, have a great week. Take care.
Thanks. You too. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Inflation is nothing more than legalized theft. Hi, I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and to preserve your wealth, I highly